everyone, and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. This is a special Code Extra. My name is Victor Omoyo, and I'm here with author Marilyn. Yes, and you're here to talk about your book, Keep Pushing Forward.
Yes.
Yes. So please tell us, what is your book about?
It's basically a memoir regarding my childhood coming up and the situations I had to deal with a single parent who was a beautiful, God-fearing woman, and the things that I managed to take over and conquer, even though I had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations.
And how long did it take you to write this memoir? And also, when did you get the idea to write the memoir in the first place?
Well, I had an idea to write a book for a very long time, but when the pandemic hit, I knew it was something that I basically had to do right now to do the book. But that was a strong, positive reason why I wanted to do it for my children and my grandchildren.
Absolutely. And talking about some of the trials and tribulations that you've been through, what were some of the most memorable challenges that you faced that kind of motivated you to write this memoir?
Well, basically, I got a second chance in life. In reality, I was not supposed to be here. I had open heart surgery, and I found out down the line, which my parent wouldn't tell me at that time, that I passed away on the table. So as I got older, they did tell me this stuff, and I had a positive mother. She was a role model, and she basically tried to make everything seem as though I was just like everybody else. She didn't try to treat me any different, and I appreciated her for that. God bless her soul.
Absolutely. It's great that you've gotten this chance to publish your book, so it's great that you had a chance to read it. Lastly, what advice or what parting words what you have for our listeners and our viewers if they want to take the time to write a book, or whether it's a memoir or even a piece of fiction, but they're kind of stuck about how do I go about it, what's the best way to do it, what advice would you give for them?
Well, first of all, it's a thought in your mind, and we all go through experiences in life, and we all have a story to tell. We all do. But the first thing you have to do is just take it upon yourself to start. That's the key factor. If you don't start, you'll never know where the end is. So I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to start and focus. And people were brought into my life that I never knew. Brought into my life to help me to start to write the book and publish the book and, present it as a book that you can see. I'm very proud of it. In my lifetime, I didn't think I would be able to accomplish something like that. I grew up in this neighborhood. So I am a prime example of what you can do if you put your mind and your heart into it.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. My name is Victor Omoyo, one half of the Codex Prime podcast, and I'm here interviewing author Michael Fine, talking about his book Rhode Island Stories. So Michael, how are things? What's new in your world?
Everything's new. Lots of things cooking out there. Interesting time. There's that old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times.
Oh yes.
And I think we are living in interesting times.
Yes, perhaps too interesting in some respects. But yes, I see that you have a brand new book, Rhode Island Stories. Can you tell us what it's about?
It's a book of short stories, all set in Rhode Island, 15 different stories, to all sorts of different people, from all sorts of different communities. Sort of an invitation into the inner lives of people in all Rhode Island's communities. So everybody has the sense of who's out there together. It's kind of the necessary condition for democracy itself.
And what was the What inspired you to delve into short stories, talking about different stories from across the state?
I've been writing short stories for many, many years. And I think what gets me writing them is wondering about some question about what's going on, about who's out there and how they're interacting, how they're feeling, how they're dealing with things. And I'll meet somebody and that will get me kind of thinking, and I'll start hearing their voice, and their voice turns into a somewhat different voice, and I start seeing how that voice is going to interact with somebody else I've run into, and before you know it, there's a story there talking about what one person's perspective on the world is, and sort of giving the reader some sense of how someone they may never have met and might never meet is doing and thinking and feeling, which is again kind of necessary if we're going to make this democracy work.
Absolutely. And in your experience, what are some of the inherent challenges of writing a short story or a series of short stories?
Well, the biggest challenge is getting the voice right. Is making sure that you stay true to the voice of what feels like a real person, and being respectful of who that person is and how they're interacting in their own community, and being respectful of that community at the same time.
And lastly, what advice would you give for any budding writer that might be interested in delving into short fiction, or even just like fiction or any sort of writing in general?
Write 6 to 8 hours a day, every day. Don't think about writing. Don't think about the story you're going to write. Sit down and make it happen. And then it unfolds. It surprises you. Sometimes it tricks you. But if you don't sit down and write it, then there's nothing done. You gotta sit down and make it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can talk about it or you can do it.
Right. And the important thing is to do it.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here and doing this.
Absolutely. And you can check out Michael Fine's latest short story collection, Rhode Island Stories, available in stores now. Support your local authors.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. I am Victor Omoyo, one half of the Codex Prime podcast, and I am here interviewing Nyan, talking about her latest book, Jesus, Adulting People in Poetry. So thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So yes, very interesting title for your latest book. Can you tell us what it's about?
So it's a collection of poetry based on my relationship with Christ, and also just dealing with adulting and dealing with the relationships with the people in my life. So it's a collection of poems I've written in the last 10 years, and I just threw it in the book for everyone.
Oh, awesome. And what was the sort of like the impetus for you to not only delve into this collection, but also coming up with the title to give me?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think how I approached it was more so just looking at all the poems I've had and noticing the common themes, and the common themes was Jesus and adulting and the different people I've dealt with. So, and I tend to like to be straightforward with my writing, so I was like, all right, so I'll just name it Jesus, Adulting People in Poetry.
And also looking at your collection of poems, what are some of your inspirations?
I would say my inspiration has to do with probably just taking that time to reflect on life, especially my life having to do with my faith in Christ. So some of it has to do with like, what would I say to God if he was right in front of me? That's the first section. Some of it is adult, like especially the adulting portion is just reflecting on certain things that are occurring when you're adulting and trying to find a new job, trying to get a car, things like that, and trying to find a way to express yourself that isn't just like, I can't stand adulting, or adulting is so bad, or anything like that. And also The people part, I guess it's self-explanatory. Just dealing one-on-one or in a group of people, you just get inspired to write about your interactions.
And lastly, and I'm asking many different authors here, but what advice would you give anyone who's looking to delve into writing poetry?
I would say just start, and while you're writing, don't worry about being perfect. Just get it out, and then as you read it to yourself, also have fun with it as well. Because I think when you think too hard about writing, or you think too hard about just expressing yourself through poetry, you stifle yourself. And in order to stop stifling yourself, I think you just need to let it out first.
Absolutely. And so once again, Kira, thank you for your time. And once again, the title is Jesus, Adulting, People, and Poetry. It's available in stores now, so come check it out. And once again, support your local authors in Rhode Island. We are the best kept secret of the arts. So check us out. You know where we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Codex Prime podcast. My name is Victor Omoyo, one half of the Codex Prime podcast, and I am here today talking with local author Diane Josefwicz, and talking about her latest book, Ready, Set, Oh! So, yes, Diane, tell us what your book is about.
Okay, so what the book is about. The book takes place in 1967, right here in Providence, Rhode Island, and it's about a small group of friends who are coming of age and struggling as they do. One of the main characters has just lost his draft deferment. The Vietnam War is going on, and he's vulnerable to being drafted. And at the same time, his girlfriend has just learned that she's pregnant. These are in the days before Roe. We're now in the post-Roe age, so there's some continuity here. So she's got a problem, he's got a problem. Their other friends also have problems, and it's really a story about how this group comes together, and as these friends navigate the troubles of growing up, especially in a small place where their families are all on their backs all the time, and that, I think, intrusive parents and their they love you, and also they make life a little difficult.
Indeed. And also, what motivated you to write a period piece?
A period piece.
Yeah, and a coming of age tale.
Yeah, I love coming of age stories. I really love them. I taught college for a long time, and I taught freshman. So, and as I was writing, I was also teaching. So I was inspired by the dilemmas of my students, but I was also thinking a lot about history. I'm a historian by training, and so looking back in time is something I do pretty naturally.
Awesome. And speaking as someone who has taught college freshmen in writing classes, I can relate. So.
Yeah, they bring something, I think, very special and complicated to the classroom, and it's just for that moment, and then it's gone.
Awesome. And what were some of the particular challenges that you had in putting together this story?
Well, I had a number of challenges. I wrote it very quickly, and it's sat on my hard drive for at least 10 years. I gave up on it. I didn't think it was very good. I really struggled with revision, and at a certain point I just never thought it was going to see the light of day. And so really the struggle was with myself and belief in the work.
And on that note, what advice would you have for writers who are perhaps in a similar dilemma where they're looking at their work and they figure it's not good enough? I don't know how's it going to resonate.
Right.
Should I do it? What advice would you give to those people who are struggling with those questions?
I have a lot of advice, but I'll keep it short. So the main thing, I think, is to realize, and this is good and bad, no one is really banging on the door for any particular piece of work. And so you're free. You're really free to write the way you want to write the book you want to write the book you want to see in the world, and then see what you can do with it. And my other piece of advice is to, once you finish it, set it aside and write something new, and then come back to it, which is something that a lot of writers say to do.
And once again, Diane, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And once again, the book is Ready, Set, Oh! Come check it out. Support your local authors. Rhode Island, the best kept secret of the arts in New England. So yeah, come check us out. You know where we are.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Victor Omoyo, one half of the Codex Prime podcast, and I'm here with a local author, Susan Mills, talking about her latest book, On the Wings of a Hummingbird. Susan, thank you for taking time to meet with me.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us a bit about your latest story.
It deals, the main character is Petra. She's a 15-year-old girl who's growing up in a poor village in Guatemala. She's already suffered a number of tragedies. She's lost her mother, who fled to the United States from her abusive father. She's lost her two best friends to the ravages of gang life in Guatemala. She's very connected to her Mayan heritage and uses both Mayan mythology and her Catholicism to help her make sense of a difficult world and find her way forward. She ends up fleeing because she herself is in danger to Providence and finds her mother here, and also finds one of the gang members who she knew as a childhood friend, and the book deals a lot with forgiveness and redemption and how that happens in a small community where people are on all sides of the conflict.
Interesting. And also, what inspired you to write this particular narrative?
I was an immigration lawyer in South Providence for about 25 years or so, and I also worked a lot with young people. Young people were very much affected by gangs in Guatemala and other countries, and we represented a lot of those people. The stories affected me very deeply. Just hearing what you asked the person before, my advice is to write about something that you care a lot about, that you have love and passion for, because you live with this story for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was the issues were bubbling out of me.
Absolutely. And like you say, I'm sure through your work you've seen many stories that could be
Yes.
Strong narratives on their own as well.
Yeah, I could probably write 10 of these, but I won't.
And also, do you have any future plans for future stories of a similar vein, or do you have any other?
I do actually. I'm working on a second novel now. It's sort of more of a suspenseful story about an asylum case with a lot of unusual characters and a complicated asylum case also from Guatemala. It involves a lot of lesbian gay issues and still working in progress, but has some similarities.
And once again, the book is titled "On the Wings of a Hummingbird" by author Susan Mills. Come check it out. Support your local authors. Rhode Island is the best kept secret of the arts in New England. You know where we are. You know where you can find us. So yeah, check it out.